What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Hi, everybody, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a story time based on how I went to prison and how I got charged with 2 kidnappings with a deadly weapon. This is probably my most requested video that I've been asked to do. A lot of people were curious, asking me questions on Instagram, on TikTok, about how I ended up going to prison. There's a lot that goes into this video. There's a lot that happened in my life, a lot that plays into why I decided to, obviously kidnap people. Before I get started, I just want everybody to know, like, I am not that person anymore. I have changed. I am a lot older now. It was, almost 5 years ago now that I did commit these crimes. So I just want to sit back and tell my truth and let people know that, you know, it doesn't define who you are. It doesn't make you a bad person. This video is probably the hardest video that I've ever had to make. So with that being said, I kind of want to take the story back to when I was about 13, when kind of everything kind of started. So I was in the system. For those of you guys who do not know what this system is, that's meaning like group homes, foster homes, treatment centers, juvie, stuff like that. In those places, you're kind of exposed to a whole different lifestyle with a lot of different people who have came from, unstable backgrounds, who have parents who do drugs, or, whatever reason that they're in there, if they're in there because of themselves or in there because of their families. So being in those places, I didn't really have family. I was more so alone. I was just trying to find my place. I was trying to fit in. I was trying to just figure out who I was. And to not really have much and nobody to call when you're that young, I feel like it hurts somebody as a person. And you just really don't really know where to go. After being alone for so long and not really having an incentive to, like, because most kids' incentives were like, oh, they're gonna go home someday, oh, they're gonna step down, oh, they're gonna go back with their family. That was their incentives. I didn't really have an incentive. I didn't really have anywhere to go, and I was just kind of floating around in the system. So to do that, you just kind of get tired of it. You get tired of being in there. You get tired of not going anywhere, and you're just sitting there. You don't get to go out. You don't get to hang out with your friends. You don't get a phone. You don't get to have sleepovers. You just lose so much of your childhood. And I lost my whole childhood to the system. You just kind of rebel. And that's what I did. I rebelled. I stopped caring. I stopped giving I just wanted to run wild and run free and not care no more. I didn't care. After a while, you're over it. So to kind of speed things up a little bit, I'm going to take you guys to when I was 16 years old. I was at this treatment center called Southern Peaks in Canyon City, and me and my friend had decided to run away. And his homeboy, TVG, I'm gonna call him, had picked us up, and we had went to this hotel room. Everybody around me was doing drugs, whether it was meth, cocaine, whatever in between. This was the first time that I had ever gotten exposed to something like this kind of lifestyle, the lifestyle of drugs, the lifestyle of crime. I had involved myself. I was running the streets, so I was kind of just doing what I needed to do to survive. I did try meth for the first time. I did try cocaine. I was drinking. I was smoking. It was kind of like my first taste of that kind of lifestyle. After being on the run for a few days, we all kind of just like departed from each other, and I gravitated more towards the females. When I was younger, I normally just got along with females better, and we just, connected better. So I had met this chick named Liz, and she was making fake receipts, and I would go return the stuff to Walmart. Well, I did end up getting caught, and I did end up going to juvie over it. That was kind of like the first time that I had really gotten like my first charge, my first crime, and like theft, robbery type sense. I think that they charged me with. I don't exactly remember the charge specifically. I just want to say that kind of being in that lifestyle, you kind of just like learn to survive. You learn what you got to do in order to survive, to make it, to eat, to have somewhere to stay that night, and to kind of like fit in. So there's kind of like a little background of how my life of crime kind of started, where the roots really came from. Now I'm going to take you guys to when I was 18, the year I did end up going to prison. So I was 18 and I kind of just aged out of the system. I'm finally an adult. It's like my first taste of real freedom. It's my first time where I could really explore who I am as a person. I can finally dress how I want to dress. I can do my hair how I want to do my hair. And, you know, honestly, I could just be me. It was a lot harder than I had expected it to be. It was really hard to find a job. It was hard to keep a job. It was hard to, you know, really do anything, from the most basic thing of how to open a bank account, how to get a car, how to, you know, do whatever. So to kind of give you guys more of my perspective, I had finally like really been able to take my transition and really finally feel like I could really start being me. And you know, there was a lot of backlash from it, especially like wanting to get a job and, you know, still having your masculine name and still just being looked differently at. I was in a more conservative town and not very many people were exposed to transgender. Nobody really knew. A lot of people had forgotten, like just in the regular world. But when you go try to get a job, people look at you funny. People will talk behind your back. And me being so young, I didn't really know how to really deal with that confrontation. Well, I thought that maybe just like running the streets and figuring out a way to get money was better instead of having a job. I didn't always feel comfortable. Didn't always feel safe. I didn't always feel like I always felt like the backlash, you know what I mean? And I feel like I took it so much to heart, that I cared so much what people thought, that when I wasn't at work, nobody knew. But when I was, people would talk about me, you know? So, and I didn't know how to handle that. I didn't know how to deal with that. So I thought, you know, whatever, I'm just not gonna have a job and I'm gonna run the streets and I'm gonna get this money. Whatever way that I can, I'm gonna eat whatever way that I can. I'm gonna do whatever way that I can. You know, and I didn't have family. I didn't have nobody I could ask for help. I didn't really have nothing, you know? So I was just trying to survive. So like I said before, it was kind of like my first taste of freedom. So I was going out and chilling with boys and trying to go to parties and, you know, just trying to live life and experience what for so long I wasn't able to because I was stuck in the system. And I would just hide that I was trans. I didn't want nobody to know. I didn't want nobody to find out. I wouldn't tell anybody. I would just keep it solely to myself as a secret. To be honest, I hated that I was trans. I hated that that was a piece of me. I had always wished that I was just a regular girl, that I was a real girl, that I wouldn't have had to deal with what I've had to deal with. And just keeping that a secret from the world was just like my main focus in life. I just didn't want anybody to find out. I didn't want nobody to know. And, you know, I did a pretty good job of hiding it. And, you know, for the first time in my life, I had really seen how much attention that I would get from men being a woman. I was chilling with prostitutes and escorts, and I seen the way their fast lives were, and I seen the way their fast money came, you know, and I saw the hustle. You know what I mean? I saw how to hustle. And I saw how to hustle in a way where you didn't have to go steal from Walmart. So many people get caught when you steal from stores. So I just saw the fast life and I saw the fast hustle and I saw how to get it without getting in trouble. So kind of push comes to shove and my best friend Gabby starts escorting, and she gets on these sites on Meet Me and on Backpage and on, you know, whatever other dating sites. And I seen that and I was like, girl, why are you having sex with these fools for money when we could just take it? Like, it's real simple, it's real easy, it's only $120. What are they gonna do? They can't call the cops. They're trying to pay for prostitution. They're trying to pay to have sex with you. So why do that when we could just take the money? This was the first time where I like actually seen that, you know, we could get money without getting in trouble for real, for real. So I put myself on these sites without telling people that I was trans, and I would just set people up and take their money. And boom, we would have an extra $120. We would have gas in this car. We would have something to eat. We would be able to go get our clothes, go be able to get our nails done. Just stuff in the normal world that we would be able to need to survive. So that's kind of where my robberies first kind of started, where I first like actually robbed an actual person. And then I had met Tiandre and Kai, and that's this is kind of the point where things kind of escalated and turned into bigger stuff and bigger things and bigger money, and how I eventually ended up in prison and charged with 2 kidnappings with a deadly weapon. First day that I actually met Tiandre and Kai was with my homegirl. She came and picked me up, and she had those two in the car, and they were talking about, wanting to get money and wanting to go to Gold Camp and go steal somebody's car. And, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm with it, whatever. But I got this way better play. And I kind of put them on the whole meet me and the whole back page thing. And, they were obviously down. They had a gun. And I was like, period, I'm finna have protection. I'm finna get this money with them. We ended up going to Kai's homeboy's apartment, and I ended up setting up, a lick or whatever. We hit a lick on this fool, allegedly. We get his car, so we're mobile by ourselves, and we get some money. Now, I didn't really know how to like set up a back page ad. I only knew how to do like Meet Me. So I had to like hit up my homegirl and ask her how to do like back page, because it like had been involved with like Bitcoin, so it's like untraceable money or whatever. So she set up the ad for me, and that night we just went and kicked it at my homegirl's apartment. We all kind of like passed out or whatever. And in the morning, I woke up and there was a whole bunch of messages from all kinds of dudes just hitting me up, trying to see me, because Backpage is like a prostitution site that was regularly used by escorts, small business escorts, like normally just $120 for 30 minutes, and, just fast money. What I'm about to tell you guys is the first crime that I actually was charged for. So I'm just gonna go into detail. So in the morning, I wake up and I have a whole bunch of, texts or whatever, and this fool Jay had hit me up. I'm gonna call him Jay because I don't want his life to be put on blast or whatever. So I'm just gonna call him Jay. So Jay hits me up and he's like, hey, how much for 30 minutes? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's $120 for 30 minutes. He's like, okay, that's cool, pull up. So we get in our little Honda, the one that we had taken last night, allegedly, and we have pull up to his apartment. I get in the car with him, and we go to the gas station. He pulls out $120 like we had agreed on, and the boys were following me in the back. He had asked me, why is there people following us? I was getting kind of nervous, and I'm like, that's just my protection, just so that we all make sure that nothing bad happens to me. Every escort is going to have a pimp, so to say, or what people think. So we get back to his apartments, the boys park or whatever, and I go upstairs with Jay. He gives me the money. You always get the money first. Like, that's like a rule in the escort business. You always get money first. You never do something and get the money last, because people are not truthful. They will not give it to you afterwards, So you always get the money first. So he gives me the money. I put it in my bra, and I let him know, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to freshen up. You just go to the bedroom and you get ready for me. He goes to the bedroom, and in my head, I see that he had a ring on his finger. I see little kids and stuff, around the apartment. I know that he's like either married or engaged and he has a kid. So I justify it to myself in my head, this fool is married, he got the kids, he is not, he's disgusting to me. He is nobody. Like, this is so gross that he would even try to pay for prostitution. So that's kind of how like I would justify it to myself back then, and be able to get the guts to do something like this. I went into the bathroom and I had texted Tiandre and Kai, and I was like, hey, are you guys ready? And they were like, yeah. So I was like, okay, cool, what's up, come up, I'll come unlock the door. So I get out of the bathroom and I go straight for the door. I unlock the door and I let the boys in. Right when I let the boys in, I see Jay come out the bedroom, and my heart drops. I'm like, oof, this fool's finna try to get crazy. So he grabs me and pulls me towards him, and he's like trying to like hold me hostage, like thinking that the boys didn't have a gun or something. He obviously tried to get aggressive with me, and Tiandre comes up to him, puts the gun to his head, and he said, let her go. So he let me go. We put him in the bathroom, and I'm angry. He just trying to put his hands on me. So I'm over there trying to get crazy with him, screaming at him, yelling at him. And I'm like, unlock your phone, da 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 da. I made him unlock his phone, take his password off. And I'm like going through it. The boys are going through the bedrooms. I'm sitting there screaming at him in the bathtub. I make him lay down in the bathtub so I know that he doesn't try to get crazy with us. The boys just start going through all this stuff, packing all this stuff in trash bags, like stuff that we see as valuable, such as like his PS3, all his game system, his weed, his bongs. And Tiandre comes to me and he's like, hey, I used to go by Jay back then. Hey Jay, get the keys, go move his car because we were finna take his car too. So I went downstairs, I went and moved his car down the street, and I came back to the apartment. It had maybe been like 5 minutes. The boys, by the time I had got back upstairs, put everything in trash bags, and Jay was still in the bathtub. I had took the rest of the keys, I had went through his fridge, took some of his food and stuff, and the boys were pretty much finished. When we were done, we raided his whole house. We flipped it up and down. And I went into the bedroom with Tiandre, and Tiandre was in there going through the rest of the drawers, and the gun goes off inside the drawer or something, and there's like a bullet hole, and he's like, oh, we gotta go right now. The gun just went off. Somebody's finna call the cops. We're kind of in the ghetto. So he was just like, we need to go now. Like, now we need to go. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. So we all take everything. We go downstairs. We throw everything in the Honda. They drive me down to where I had parked his car. I had got in his car, and Tiandre had hopped in the car with me. And then we drive off. I don't know what happened with Jay after that. If he had called the cops, he probably did call the cops right after. I don't know exactly. All I know is that we had drove somewhere to these different apartments. We all stopped and we were going through everything that we got. They were showing me everything that they got. There was like bongs, pipes, jewelry, weed, just PlayStations, games. Like they got all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, okay, period. And we kind of went through it. We separated it. So by this time, while we were at the apartments, we obviously had came up on another car. So we had 2 cars and we had all kinds of stuff. We all kind of separated it evenly, and me and Tiandre were kind of like a thing then. We were kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, Ty kind of like went off on his own, and me and Tiandre were kind of just like a team. I kind of like took Tiandre under my wing, and I was like, okay, period, we can go stay with my homeboy. At that time, I was kind of just like couch surfing, staying where anybody would let me. And at that time, I was staying with my friend, Steven. And, I had brought Tiandre there, and we were all just chilling for the next few days. We continued to hit licks, you know what I mean? That wasn't the only lick that I was hitting. I was hitting more and more and more licks. Like, we were trying to get our money up. Then we ended up going to my homegirl Gabby's house, the one that I had mentioned to you guys earlier, who was prostituting. She was also trans. We had went to her boyfriend's apartment that she was staying at the Bear Creek Apartments, and me and Tiandre were kind of just like staying there now. Like we were just chilling there for a couple days or whatever. And I was setting up more licks. By that time, the back page was going, the meet me was going. I had fools just blowing me up. The next crime that I did get charged for, I'm gonna call him Patrick. It was just a little bit different, you know what I mean? This is the one where it was kind of like more aggressive. It got more confrontational. It was just a very big piece, you know what I mean? This is kind of like the bigger crime. So my ad was obviously still posted, and this guy hits me up. His name is Patrick, and he is like, hey, what's up, da 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 da, 30 minutes, so on and so forth. Me and him had never actually discussed a price. I just had so many text messages, I didn't really remember. So he comes and picks me up, and we go driving around for a second. I'm like, okay, are you gonna go get the money? So he pulls up to the Come and Go, like probably like right down the street from the apartment complex. And we're like sitting there talking. I'm like, okay, so what's up? Are you gonna do this money? Because when I had first got in the car, he had asked me, wait, are are you are you a boy? You know, like that was definitely the first question he had asked me. I don't know how he knew, where he had even got that from. He obviously pays for prostitution, so obviously he could probably tell. I don't know how he told. He just knew. So obviously I was like, no, what the F, da 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 da. That is not me. Are we still gonna do this? He was like, yeah, I guess. He was like, how much? And I was like, it's $120. And he was like, $120? What do you mean $120? I'll give you 60. And I was like, what? You're really gonna try to have sex with me for $60? I'm only worth $60? And he was like, yeah, that's all I can do right now, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, honey, it's $120 for 30 minutes, or, you know, you could just go drop me off back home. He was like, I could only do 60. I'm like, okay, well, what about 80? You know, because I'm like, well, I'm already here. I might as well get some money, da 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 da. And he told me no. So we were kind of just like in a disagreement. You know, so I was getting angry and I'm like, just take me back to my house. Just take me back to my house now. Take me back. We're driving and I'm like just on my phone waiting to get back to the house. And I'm like texting Tiandre. I'm like, okay, be ready. I'm coming back with this chick right now. And he's like, okay. So we get back to the apartment. He kind of like parks his car by my stairwell where I would just walk up the stairs and go to the apartment. He like pulls up and I'm like, okay, let me see your phone. I want to make sure that our messages are deleted. And he's like, okay. And he has like one of the new Galaxies that like had just came out. It was a really nice phone. And I'm like, okay, I'm going through it. I'm making sure all the text messages are deleted. And I try to hop out of the car with his phone because I'm like, I'm gonna get something out this fool because, you know, he wasted my time. Well, when I try to hop out the car, he like pulls my hair and he pulls my arm and he's like trying to pull me back into the car. And I'm like, get off of me, get off of me, get off of me. So I finally get away from him. I open the car door and I run up to the stairs. Well, he hops out the car and tries to run after me. When he tries to run after me, Tiandre was like behind like a brick, I don't really know what to call those, but he was like hiding behind there and Tiandre like pulls up and pulls the gun out and puts it on his head. And you know, Patrick is like, whoa, 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 bro, it's not like that. She just stole my phone, da 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 da. He's like, you're not gonna touch her. So I run back down the stairs and I just go, boom. I just start punching him. I just start hitting him because I'm so angry that this fool just put his hands on me. You know, when you do stuff like this, when you're in the escort business or you know, are prostituting and this is actually your job. This is actually your life. A lot of like bad things can happen to you. So they were really nice apartments. So there's like, you know, upper class people who do live there. So he kind of took him back to the driver's side and I followed him and he was like, babe, what do you want to do with this fool? What do you want to do with him? What do you want to do with him? And I'm like, I don't know. Well, these man and this woman were walking by and I'm like, shh, shh, shh. We're going to get caught up. We're going to get caught up. We need to chill. We need to chill because these people are walking past us. It's like late at night. You know, I'm getting kind of nervous. I'm really angry at this fool. So I'm like, just put him in the back of the car. So Tiandre gets in the back of the car. I hop in the driver's seat and, you know, I just take off. I just start driving. You know, I don't know to where. I just keep driving. I was just crazy, you know. I just had lost my mind then. I was just so angry. And, you know, I wasn't on drugs. I wasn't, you know, doing meth or nothing like that no more. I was completely sober. I just didn't care anymore. And to not care is the worst drug of all because when you don't care, you really just lose everything. You lose all sense of humanity. You lose all sense of feelings. You lose all sense of like empathy or sympathy for anybody. All you care about is yourself and survival. Anyways, back to the story. We like are just driving, like we're trying to figure out like what we're finna do with this fool. So we take all his stuff. We take his phone. I make him unlock his phone. And I do some pretty crazy stuff to this guy. I end up kind of taking him to an ATM. I make him pull out money And then like we're just kind of parked in this parking lot. I was just so angry. I was so angry, and I don't know like what came over me. And then I had ended up taking him into the liquor store. Only 18, I couldn't buy liquor, you know. I let him have his ID and one of his cards. I went into the liquor store with him and told him exactly what to get, and then I left the store because obviously I'm underage. They were gonna card both of us. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave the store. I trust you. If you don't come out, we will, you know, kill you. I get out of the store and I go back in his car and in the driver's seat. And Tiandre's kind of hiding his face. You know, we don't want to be seen by those people, even though I did go in the store. Well, he just continues to take a long time. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, what is this fool doing? I see him talking to the cashier and I'm like just getting kind of nervous. I was like, I feel like he just told on us. We gotta go. We gotta go now. So we ended up leaving, and you know, I kind of just like forgot about that whole situation. I didn't think about it. It was just so easy to compartmentalize everything that had just happened because I had been living in this life of crime. You know, you don't continue to just think about it, you just move on. We have now 3 cars. Ty has one of them, and then me and Tiandre have the other 2. So we go park the car, we go back up to the apartments or whatever, and I go get ready. I go out that night, we go party or whatever. Me and Tiandre have our own issues. Whatever, that's irrelevant. You know, we just kind of move on with our lives. You know, I try to set up more licks, whatever. So after that night, we woke up the next morning, you know, as normal. You know, I wasn't like sitting there dwelling on what I had did the day before. I had went to Walmart, you know, it was kind of like the end of the night. I was gonna cook for everybody. I was cooking tacos, and then my homegirl Gabby was like, hey, I'm hungry. I don't want to wait, you know, can I go get some chips or something from the gas station? I'm like, yeah, girl, go ahead, just go borrow the stroller and go. Throughout the day, I was obviously trying to set up more licks for me to hit, and there was just this one that was so weird to me. He was talking about like trying to spend the whole night with me or whatever, and I'm like, okay, cool, bet, you know, $500. And it was just like off and on, and I could just feel that something was wrong. Something was off about this fool. But you know, I wasn't like really 100% paying a whole bunch of attention to it. I didn't really need the money. We had already had money. You know, I had just bought a whole bunch of groceries, got my nails done. You know, I was chilling. But I was still trying to get some money, you know, set up something somewhere. My homegirl leaves, and like, you know, Tiandra just got out the shower. I'm sitting on the couch, you know, I'm just waiting for the hamburger to heat up. And Tiandra comes and sits down next to me, and you know, I'm on the phone, and boom, I get a phone call. I answer and I'm like, hello? It was from like a weird number. And it's my homegirl Gabby. She just left maybe 5 minutes ago. And she says, Jay, it's over. Come outside. The cops are surrounded you. Da 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 da. So I just dropped my phone and I'm like, what the I'm even getting goosebumps talking about it right now. Like, I just knew something was wrong, and I dropped my phone. Tiandre's like, what's wrong? And I did not answer him. I got up, I opened the door. I didn't even have shoes on, you guys. I walk out the house, and these cops just come up from both sides of the stairs. One from this side, one from this side, and they have shields. And they're like, get out on the ground, get out on the ground. And I was like, oh, you know? I get down on the ground, like the SWAT team had came for me to come get me. So I think that it was Gabby. I always think that she had set me up. So they ended up taking me, arresting me. They went through the whole house. They went and arrested Tiandre. They arrested Gabby. They arrested me, and they took us down to the police station. In the police station, I like stayed there all night. I was so cold. I was literally in like a tank top. I was in some booty shorts. I only had socks on. I didn't even have shoes on. And you know, they just held me in the interview room the whole night. One of the officers was actually pretty nice to me. He gave me a jacket, and you know, I was just cuddled up and I tried to fall asleep. And then the investigator had came in and started questioning me and asked me questions, and I told him, you know what, I will tell you everything that I had done, but I'm not going to tell you anything that anybody else had done. So right away, I was just completely honest with everything. I didn't feel like hiding anything. I did ask him, I was like, how long do you think I'm gonna go away for? Because my mom did go to prison for kind of a similar thing, and I just remember she was away for a long time in my childhood. So I was just like really nervous. I was like, I'm going to go to prison forever. You know, they ended up booking me at CJC in Colorado Springs. When I first had went to CJC, it was like just so different. They had me segregated for a very long time. Obviously, because I'm trans, they didn't really know where to put me with the boys, with the girls. I was segregated for about a month, and then they ended up putting me in general population with the females. And it wasn't the best experience. Girls are really mean. About 8 months later, I got sentenced on August 31st, and they charged me with 2 kidnappings with a deadly weapon. And then I went to prison with the men for the next 2.5 years of my life. So, yeah. And this kind of sums up the story about how I ended up with 2 kidnappings with a deadly weapon. And to kind of like sum up this video, you know, this video was a really hard video for me to make. I know a lot of people are going to judge me for it. And I know, you know, putting it out there, I just know that I'm going to get a lot of backlash for it. And, you know, that's okay with me. I just want people to understand, and I want people to know that we're not perfect. We all make mistakes. Some aren't as, you know, intense as others, but we all have a story. We all go through something. And, you know, this makes me me. And, you know, I've went through a lot in my life. And I'm only 23. It doesn't make me who I am. But this is definitely something that, you know, if I could take it back, I would. But I can't, you know? And I just want to put my story out there. I want to let people know that just because you made mistakes, that doesn't make you who you are. And we can change, and we can be better, and we can do better. And you know, whatever little trans girl is out there, and whatever little boy going through the system is out there, and whatever trials and tribulations that we have to go through, and that makes us us, it doesn't make us bad people. We just gotta learn, and we gotta grow from it, and we gotta, you know, move on. What else can you do? This too shall pass. You know what I mean? This too shall pass, love. And you're not alone. I hope you guys enjoyed this YouTube video. And, you know, if you guys do kind of like this kind of stuff, and you guys do want more story times about, you know, my crazy life, you know, make sure to hit the subscribe button, comment. Let me know how you guys feel. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time.